So this is, again, from the Rails documentation, just demonstrating what you guys are building in lab time. An author has many books. And so this is directly from the Rails guides if you want to take a look at that screenshot. But the really important thing to keep in mind, just like we did when we created the SQL queries last week, we're still going to add a foreign key to the many model. So in this example, if an author has many books, you guys probably guessed it. In this example, we would add an author ID column to our books table. And that author ID would be the ID of the author that the book belongs to. We did this exact same thing last week. We're just going to see how Rails makes it a little easier to accomplish this relationship. So any question about primary foreign keys before we add another model? Okie dokie. So let's do it. We're going to hop back into our application, and we are going to create a song model. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll knock this out. Okay, so we're going to work in the same app that we started this morning, the Muse app. So we can generate the song model just like our artist model. So we can do Rails G model song to create our initial model. If we specify the attributes or the columns on the command line, Rails will automatically generate the correct migration file for us. Pretty much what we did this morning when we created our artist model initially. So if you want to go into the terminal, make sure that you're in the correct directory. Cool. So let's go ahead and do a Rails G model for a song. And I'm going to give you guys some more seed data for songs. So just want to make sure that these fields are correct. So the first thing we're going to put, we haven't seen this yet. We're going to do an artist : references. So this is going to be a really handy helper way that Active Record is going to connect songs to a given artist. This is going to accomplish a couple of things that we'll see in a second. So this is not, this will actually create an artist ID field on the song. And it's also going to do some fancy indexing underneath the hood. Something that Mongo does as well called B tree or binary tree. It's a way to make queries faster. It's more efficient to retrieve data. And so when we use this helper, this : references, not only does it add that artist ID column, which we need, the foreign key field, but is also going to do some other cool stuff underneath the hood that we don't really need to worry about. So we're going to do artist references and then title and then genre. You don't have to do this, but essentially the other way we could have done this is we could have literally created like an artist _ ID field with the data type of integer to hold the foreign key. But like I said, doing this : references just adds some fancy stuff under the hood. So we'll let Rails handle that. Now, so we're going to create title and genre columns as well. Why aren't I specifying a data type for title and genre? Why don't I do : something for those two?
It automatically comes off as a string.
Cool. Yeah, so remember, if we don't specify a data type, Rails is going to assume we want a string or staring. You could totally do : string, whatever you want to do, but just to let you guys know of that little shortcut there. All right, so let's run that. And just like our artist, this is going to create two files. It's going to create our model file for song, and it's also going to create a migration file to create the songs table. So when we run Rails DB migrate in a bit, it will create the songs table. Again, I don't mean to be redundant, but even though we created that migration file to create the songs table, note that in our schema, that table still doesn't exist yet. So we merely created the instructions to do it, but until we run Rails DB migrate, it still hasn't actually updated the database yet. All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and migrate that, and then we're going to do a few more things to make this relationship complete. So go ahead and run Rails DB migrate, and we'll see what that artist colon references did for us underneath the hood. So it ran the create songs migration file, which was right here. And then if we check out the schema, so now we have our songs table, now that we ran Rails DB migrate. We have an artist ID or a foreign key field of an integer data type. So that's something that that artist colon references did for us. And then also, again, this is just some fancy footwork underneath the hood, but notice that it's kind of an invisible column that Rails and Active Record gives us to index the songs for an artist. And it uses like a binary tree indexing algorithm. Again, it just helps make those queries more efficient. And then down here, we see another method, add foreign key on songs for artists, or add an artist ID field to our songs table. So those are just a couple of extra goodies that artist colon references did for us. Otherwise, we'd have to do all this manually. Just FYI. Yeah, and then Cody mentions, that's a nice little tip in Slack. So anytime you do like a Rails G or Rails generate, generally, if you want to destroy or undo what you just did, you can change the G or the generate to destroy. So usually you can just hit the up arrow in the terminal. So if I wanted to like undo that, I could hit the up arrow to Rails G model song, and I could just do Rails D model. And then that would delete the migration and delete the model. At this point, it'd still be a little screwy, because actually it'd be fine, because it would create a migration file that would totally delete the song table. So that would be all good, actually. Anywho, just FYI. All right, cool. So the next step that we need to do to make these relationships work is we're going to add 2 helper methods to our model files. So we haven't really played around with our model files yet, and now we'll get a chance to do so. So if you want to go into app and models, go ahead and open up your artist and songs files. Let me drag that over there. Cool. So when we did that artists colon references command, one thing that it just went ahead and did for us, it's kind of a small thing, but in our songs model, it added a belongs_to method. So we need to tell each model who it belongs to or who it has many instances of, etc. So on our song, songs belong to an artist. And so in our artist model, we need to do kind of the mate of that. So let's do a has many songs, like so. And so this will kind of complete the relationship. So an artist has many songs, and a song belongs to an artist, singular. And then let me put the screenshot into Slack. So the way we have our data now, I think we talked about that with the mean stack. But since songs belong to an artist, right now, if we deleted an artist from our database, all of those songs would still exist in our database. Now, maybe that's okay. Maybe we want like a record of all the songs, even if they're independent of an artist. Again, maybe we have songs that are covered by multiple artists. So maybe we want all of our songs to kind of be independent of any artist if we're going to delete an artist. However, for this application, just as an example, let's set this up so if we delete an artist, it will also delete all of the songs that belong to that artist. And this is really kind of something to be mindful of when you're setting up your data, because you don't always, like if I delete a user from a database, I don't want, let's say if I delete them from Facebook or something, I would also want all of my comments removed from Facebook, or all of my posts or newsfeed items. I want to completely wipe out my account, you know, I need to grab all of the data that's dependent on my user. And so that's the idea. We want to destroy all the songs that belong to a given artist. The way that we do that is over here in our songs model, let's add one more method, dependent destroy. So what this is saying is any other models that depend on this artist, if we destroy an artist, go ahead and destroy all of the dependencies. In this application, the only thing that's dependent on an artist are the songs. But if you want to set up your data that way, you could put this dependent destroy. And next, let's seed some songs, and then we'll play around with these relationships. So here's our next step, and then I'm going to paste in these songs directly into Slack so you can copy them. And these are going to go in your seeds.rb file, just like our artists. So let's go into our seeds file. The seeds file is located in your DB folder. So we'll open up seeds. And I'm going to put these down below, like down here at the bottom. So if I try to create songs above the artists that they belong to, that's not going to work. And I'm going to get error messages. Remember that unlike JavaScript, which is asynchronous, Ruby and Rails is it's very literal. So we need to structure our code in the order that we want it to run. So down here at the bottom, let's just paste in those song.creates. And also notice that I don't know what ID Rihanna is in your database, or Taylor. Like, I don't know if Rihanna is like the 11th artist or the 67th or whatever. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to grab this Rihanna variable, and then I'm going to put a .id. So whatever ID, so maybe when you seed your database, maybe you have like 3 instances of Rihanna because you've seeded it a couple times or whatever. But this is just going to grab this specific instance of Rihanna in the seeds file, and that's going to be the foreign key for the song. The last thing I'm going to put in here, just to try to keep this a little neat and tidy, is so we can try to keep all of our IDs and stuff somewhat consistent. I'm going to put a destroy all here at the top. Cody referenced this in the debugging channel as well. So I could go onto the command line and drop my database directly, or just another way to do it is, instead of dropping my database, maybe I just want to wipe out all my artists and seed them fresh. This would be similar to Mongoose, for example, if we did like remove, something like that in Mongoose. So .remove, or in Rails and Active Record, we can do destroy all. So it'll destroy all the artists and then seed these new ones. So let's go, once you put that into your seeds file, let's go back here and run Rails DB seed. Cool, so no news is good news. And then I'm going to go back into my Rails console, which I think I had in this tab here. Let me do my reload. Bang. Because I'm lazy and I don't want to completely exit my thing. Cool. And then let's just test this out. So first, let's make sure that our songs were populated. So if you do a song.all, you should have 5 songs in your database. And then take note of the IDs. So each song has its own primary key or primary ID. And then each of your songs should have a foreign key field, artist ID, with whichever artist your database has currently. Now, really, I think I mentioned this earlier, but with relational databases, let me do artist.count. So notice that I only have 5 artists in my database. However, why does my artist ID start with 8? if I only have 5 artists, shouldn't this ID be like, and actually, let me pull up all my artists. I do an artist.all. So notice that the first artist in my database has an ID of 8. So it goes 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If I only have 5 artists, why doesn't this start with the number 1? Why don't I just deleted all my artists or destroyed them? So why didn't this start over with the number 1? Does anyone want to come on mic and maybe explain that crazy thing?
Is
Doesn't
it
it just keep
because
counting?
when you delete entries from SQL, it gets replaced with null rather than actually removing it?
Yeah. Yeah, Audrey, did you have a thought as well?
Oh, I was just saying, I guess it would just keep counting it.
Yeah, so kind of to both of your points, in Postgres, unless we drop the table and recreate the table from scratch, even if we delete artists, those IDs are still going to be sequential, because maybe somewhere in our code or in our application, even though we deleted some records, maybe we still need to know that those records did exist at some point, or maybe we have some sort of data store with the deleted record IDs or something. The point being, even though I have 5 artists, I had 7. I destroyed all the artists, so when I reseeded it, it's going to start at 8. Just for funsies, I'm going to seed this again, and it's going to destroy all the artists, but it's not going to start over in the counting. It's just going to start at number 14, I guess. So I just reseeded, and now if I reload, and if I do artist.all again, so now my artists start at 13. I still only have 5 artists, but it just picked up where it left off. And just as kind of a side note, and this is what Cody was alluding to in the debugging channel, if I wanted to completely wipe out my database or completely wipe out my table and start with the number 1 with my IDs, there's a couple of ways I could do this. I could do like Rails DB drop, or I could do Rails DB reset and then DB seed. So DB reset, I think, drops your database, runs the migrations with that one command, and then I want to reseed my database after that. So just let me confirm that this works the way it should. Okay, so this is a pretty common error. Database is being accessed by other users. There's one other session using the database. So I probably have, yeah, see, so this is my bad. I'm actually I'm not. I'm only in one tab. So since I was actually in the Rails console and accessing the data, since I was using the data, it wasn't going to let me run that command. So I exited out of my Rails console. So I'm going to do that one more time, and I think we'll be cool now. But that's a pretty common error. It'll say detail, there's one other session using the database. So you'll get that occasionally. So I ran Rails DB reset. So it drops the databases. It recreates the databases. And then it runs those migration files. So Rails DB reset is the same as running like Rails DB drop, then Rails DB create, then Rails DB migrate. So it's just kind of a shortcut for that. I'll put that command into Slack just for your FYI. Cool, so I reseeded the database. And so now if I go back into Rails C, and if I do an artist.all, now my artists start with the ID of 1. So I totally blew up my database and started fresh. Not a huge deal, but just so you guys are kind of mindful of the difference. Just because you delete all instances of something doesn't mean that it's going to start over with the numerical ID assignment. For what it's worth. Okay, cool. So just give me a thumbs up in Slack if song.all is working for you. So if you go into Rails C and you do capital song.all, you should get back 5 songs. So I just want to make sure that we seed it correctly before we move forward. And so now my song IDs and my artist IDs just happen to be in lockstep. So the first song is Rihanna's song, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, yeah, was there a question?
Can I see your seeds file real quick?
Yeah. Here you go. It's a little stretched out. But yeah, I just put this artist.destroy all. And then here's my artists. I instantiate the new artists. I save the artists here. And then here's my 5 songs that I created. And I can select this out. Let me just, if anyone's interested. And also, if it makes it easier, so again, Rails is really good with kind of like helpful comments. So this just shows you an example of how to like create. This would actually create, this is an array of different movies if you're trying to create movies. So you could pass them all at once. Or if you wanted to create a character with a name and a movie field, etc. But the point is, if that's bugging you, you can just delete those comments. It's no big deal. They're there for your enjoyment. Okay, so we have 4 thumbs ups. And so just give me about 10 more minutes.
I'm getting 0 songs.
Okay. Why is that?
I have no idea. I did.
Okay, go ahead and share your screen. We'll take a look. Let me stop my screen share. And if song.all does work, please give me a thumbs up so I know.
So here's this. I saved it.
Okay.
Here's the this.
Okay.
This, and I reran DB seeds.
Okay.
And I did.
Okay, go back to your artist.rb file. Okay, so this story is misspelled.
Ah, son of a.
And the error in your console kind of led you to say that because it said dependent must be one of these like 5 options. And it said : destroy. So I just assumed maybe it was a typo or something. So yeah.
Destroy. Okay. Command S. Let's go. Yes.
Cool. So I think you're good now. So no news is good news. So now if you do, yeah.
There we go.
Cool. Nice. The other, so Kieran, while you're here, well, if you're interested, one other reason to maybe use reload bang versus exiting out of console and then coming back in is if you use reload bang, the line numbers still maintain their integrity. So Kieran just had his screen shared. So we had like IRB line 48. He reloaded and then it continued with line 49. If you exited out and came back in, it would start over at line 1. Just FYI. So if you're trying to do some sort of debugging or something, and if that matters to you, reload bang is sometimes a little less evasive or invasive. I got my thesaurus calendar mixed up today, guys. My apologies. Sometimes that's more helpful than exiting out of the console. All right, I still see 4 thumbs ups. So I need to make sure you guys have some seed data to work with. So keep those donations coming in. If we get one more, I'm going to move forward. Please, someone give me a thumbs up. We're so close. I shouldn't have said that. So now, probably going to withhold your thumbs ups now.
We're just all that vindictive.
That's true. Well, that's what I get for keeping you guys over breaks and stuff. Is anyone's stuff blowing up before we move forward? Is anyone still working or?
I think Matt might have a hard time doing a thumbs
Sure.
up.
Okay, that's all right. All right, so Marshawn Lynch wannabe, are you good? Let's see if you're good. Kill me, buddy. There we go, thank you. All right, I'm gonna move forward. So we're basically gonna walk through the same code actions we did with artist, but the associations are a little different now that we have more options actually, now that we have these associations set up. So I just wanna walk through a few examples. You guys have this lesson for reference. You also have the active record associations guides, but let's just see some of the cool stuff that you can do. And I think you'll find that this is much, much less complex than using Mongoose to query different pieces of data. Let me share my screen again, and we're gonna fly through these guys. So just stop me if something's blowing up or uber confusing. Okay, so we're in the Rails console. Just to confirm, I can do artist.all. I've got all my artists and all of my songs. And let's see a couple of ways to create new songs. So obviously I can treat a song just like I did artist. I could do song.new or song.create, but a much more efficient and active record-y way to do this is, since songs are dependent on an artist, instead of creating a separate song and trying to figure out Rihanna's ID and then putting Rihanna's ID into the song, that can be a lot of complexity. But with these relationships, Active Record makes this a lot easier. So the first thing, we're gonna add a song to Rihanna. So I just happen to know that Rihanna is the first artist in my database. So let me grab Rihanna and assign her to a variable. And let's create a Diamonds song. And we'll assign this to a variable as well. If I want to create a new song that is automatically attached to Rihanna and automatically has her foreign key, her ID, as the foreign key field, the beautiful thing about Active Record is I can do Rihanna, and then I can call the songs method. This refers to the songs table. So I can do Rihanna. I'm going to do something with songs that belong to Rihanna, either delete a song, create a song, update a song, or get all the songs. But in this case, I'm going to do .new to instantiate a new song. So when I do that, here's my song object. And notice that all of the fields are empty because I haven't saved it yet. All of the fields are empty except the most important one, which is that goofy foreign key field. But Active Record went ahead and it knew that Rihanna's ID is the ID of 1 because she's the first artist in my database. So Active Record went ahead and added the foreign key of 1 to that song. So now I can add stuff to that song. So I could do diamonds.name equals diamonds. We're up row. Undefined method name. Oh, it's title. Excuse me. We have a title on our song. So I can do diamonds.title. So it returns diamonds. If I call diamonds just to check it out. So now I still have my artist ID and I have the title of diamonds. I won't bore you with the rest. Just let me go ahead and save this. So I'll save my diamonds object. Active Record creates the query and saves it. So now, if I want to grab all of Rihanna's songs, in the Mongoose world, I'd have to like artist.find, grab the artist information, then maybe do like a references or a .populate. I don't really think we took a look at .populate, but I'd have to chain together some promises like find me the artist, then find all the songs that belong to that artist, then return it and all that. With Active Record, if I want to see all of Rihanna's songs, all I need to do is Rihanna.songs, and there you go. So that returns the one song that we seeded called Umbrella, and then it also returns Diamonds, the one we just created. So So using active record, I could do Rihanna.songs. I could also do diamonds. And if I wanted to find the artist that did diamonds, I have the artist ID on my diamonds. So I could also do artist, and it returns Rihanna. So this may not seem like a huge deal right now, but this is so cool and so much easier than Mongoose. If you use these associations appropriately, it's going to give you much more powerful, it's going to make your code much more powerful, and it's going to be a lot less code. So we could get all of Rihanna's songs, or if I know a specific song, I could also get the artist for that song. I can also do things like diamonds.artist, give me the name of that artist, and it returns Rihanna. So if you chain these methods together, it makes your life a lot easier. And then just as an example, let's see how we can use the .create method if you wanted to do this a little bit more succinctly. So here's an example of .create. If we want to create a song directly on Rihanna, I'm just going to copy this in the interest of time. So I could do Rihanna.songs.create, and here's the title of the song. I could pass in the genre or the what other fields we have, but work will be plenty. So I hit enter. That creates a new song that already has the artist ID for Rihanna right there. And so now if I hit the up arrow a few times and do Rihanna.songs, I now have 3 songs that belong to Rihanna. So I've got Umbrella, Diamonds, and Work, 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 Work. Hope y'all enjoyed that little karaoke. All right. What was the last example I put in here? Oh yeah, so this is just like the quick and easy way to associate 2 models. Let's say that I didn't know Rihanna's ID explicitly, but I still had, I don't know Rihanna's ID is number 1, but this is how we set up our seeds file, just for an example. If I wanted to create Only Girl, I could do song.create. And for this song, I want to go ahead and assign the artist ID directly. And I don't know that Rihanna is the ID of 1, but I can, since I have Rihanna stored in a variable, I could do, just pop in Rihanna's ID right here, and that's going to be the foreign key for this song. So I can also do it that way. So I can create a song, it's assigned to Only Girl, and then if I do Only Girl .artist.name, then it's already associated underneath the hood. An active record can do those queries very quickly. And so that's kind of the beauty. Oh, Karen was going to deduct points. Well, I'm glad you don't have to do that, my friend. Okay, so that is how we can create new instances directly using those associations. So it's going to save you a lot of code, a lot of time. But I love that about Ruby. I love that, I mean, literally, this reads like English. The song Only Girl, get me the name of the artist, or get me all of Rihanna's songs. Like, it doesn't get much simpler than that. That is a work of art right there. All right, cool. Let's take a look at read, update, and delete, and put you guys back into breakouts for a little bit of practice. Well, I've already kind of showed you guys some read examples, but using these associations, we can get really efficient with our code and such. So I've already showed you guys Rihanna.songs. Let's say that I want to find the Rihanna song called Diamonds. So I could do something like Rihanna.songs. I know that's going to return all the songs, but specifically find me the song with the title of Diamonds. And there we go. So it returns the song. And check out that SQL statement. Like, if we had to create this, like actually to write out the SQL query, which is totally, like, we should totally be able to do that. But how much more succinct is that line of code? Get me the Rihanna song and find by the title of diamonds. That is good stuff right there. And then I show you another example to do that find by. David says, do we need to save? Only Girl is not showing in that Rihanna.songs. It should, because we did a .create for Only Girl. Let me make sure. Umbrella, diamonds. Oh, you're right. Let me see what I did for Only Girl. Song.create.
I think we only stored it as a variable for Only Girl.
Okay. So if I wanted to just do it in one fell swoop, I could just do like that. Song.create. Yeah, good call, David. That's my bad. And so it's assigned its own ID. So know that it worked, that it saved correctly. So now if I do Rihanna.songs, still not there. What are we missing here? Well, that's interesting. That is interesting. Let me see if I misspelled something. Song.create, artist ID, it's Rihanna ID. Let me make sure that I still got Rihanna saved in memory. Yeah, I've still got Rihanna. Did I misspell Rihanna or something? And if I do Rihanna.id, it returns 1, so that's right. Song.create, artist ID, Rihanna ID, title Only Girl. And it does save it to the database. That's interesting. Why is it not pulling up that association? That is peculiar. Let me check on that, because that should work. I'm not sure. Maybe I typed it incorrectly or something. But yeah, the song is persisting, because if I do song.all, now I've got like 3 versions of Only Girl. Artist ID of 1, artist ID of 2. You know what? The only thing that I would guess, and let me confirm this, is since we didn't create that song, Only Girl, if we'd have done it like this, let me confirm. If I did Rihanna.create and did it directly like this, I bet this would work. I think it's something, since we manually added that foreign key, and I bet if I completely exited out of IRB and came back in, that would probably work. Didn't like that. Title create. So for this one, I would need to do new and then save. So let me just confirm this, and then we'll move forward. What did I do there? Rihanna songs.new.
I think you're calling .new on the instance right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't put that songs in there. So create me a new song for the songs table that belongs to Rihanna. So if I do that, it attaches the artist ID. And then, oh, here's a nice little tip. I'm glad I did this. So I need to save that song, right? I need to save the Only Girl song that I just created, but I didn't assign it to a variable. So how can I get to it? Here's a nice little tip. So let's say that I forgot to assign it to a variable. A cool little Ruby trick is if you create a variable equals and then you do an underscore, it will load up the last thing that was returned, or the last operation that you did. So if I run that, I now have that object assigned to that Only Girl variable. That's a fun little trick, because sometimes you forget to assign stuff. So underscore will assign the last commands to a variable, the last object or whatever, just for grins. Okay, so we'll do Only Girl grill dot save, and now if we do Rihanna dot songs, there's Only Girl. Yeah, so I still want to research why. I think to use that active record association like .songs, we have to create the song in that way, but I still don't like that. So I'm gonna try one more thing and then we'll move forward. But I'm glad you pointed that out. So let me, I know that Rihanna, so since I exited out of the console, now I don't have a Rihanna variable. So I'm gonna do Rihanna equals artist dot first, because she's first. Now if I do Rihanna dot songs, now it works. Yeah, I guess I just had to completely refresh, like exit and come back in. Because now we see all those 20 different only girls that we saved. So yeah. So just need to like completely exit out and come back in for what it's worth. Yeah, so Alejandra, so that worked for you as well? Song.create, then .save? Well, we shouldn't need the, I'll play with that in a second. We shouldn't need the .save because .create should do it for us. But I think you're saying if you do it with that way, you can use that association immediately. I think that's maybe where you're going with that. Cool. Anyway, thanks for pointing that out. Didn't mean to go down a rabbit hole there. Yeah, so those are some reads. Let's take a look at update and delete. You guys can probably just kind of read through this and figure it out. And then I'll put you guys back into breakouts for a little bit of time. So update is not too crazy. So if I want to update the Diamonds song to gospel or something else, I already have Rihanna saved. So I could do Diamonds Rihanna.songs.first and yeah, so when I reseeded, anyway, we'll just go with umbrella. The point of the story is that, so if I have Diamonds, I can call my update like that. And I want to update, let's say the genre to gospel, something like that. And then if I call Diamonds again, so we went from genre pop to genre of gospel. So just an example. And I'm just keep in mind, I'm breaking these out into like 3 different steps. You could probably put that entire command on one line. You know, you could do artist find by name Rihanna dot songs dot find by title Diamonds dot update. You know, you could chain those together. I'm just choosing to do them in smaller chunks, but there's several different ways to do this. So just FYI. And then the final thing we can do is delete. And we'll really see an example because we put that dependent destroy method on our artist model. So if we delete an artist, it should delete all of that artist's songs. So just an example, we could do, so I have Diamonds stored in memory. Yeah, so to delete like a single song, obviously I could do Diamonds.destroy, like so. And then that will delete it from the database. Now, and then if I do Rihanna songs, I no longer have umbrella. I still have umbrella. Why are you doing this to me? Diamonds.destroy. Let's see what I had stored. Still in there. Why did that not destroy? This worked in rehearsal. Let me try it one more time. I'm just going to reload. I promise all of this code is tight. So I'll do it one more time. Rihanna songs.first. So that grabs umbrella. Then I can do diamonds.destroy. Begin commits. And then if we check out all of the songs, if we do Rihanna songs.first, it still has umbrella. I wonder if it's doing that. It doesn't like, I think I'm just deleting the variable there. I think I'm doing that wrong. Let me try this. No, I may need to reload my situation. But I'll come back to that. Here's the point of the whole story, folks. Since we added that dependent destroy, we can do something like this. And it's right there at the bottom of the screenshot almost. So find me the artist named Rihanna and destroy that artist. So when I destroy that artist, it should also destroy all of the songs that belong to Rihanna. So let's check that in action. So when I destroy the artist, we can see it destroys the artist here. But before it does, it finds all of the songs that have the foreign key field for that artist, and it deletes those before it deletes that artist. But the reason that that works is because of this little line right here, this dependent destroy. And so that's kind of the magic that that does for us. And so if I do artist.all, now it starts with ID of 2. So Rihanna has been sadly destroyed. So let me stop my screen share and see if you guys have any questions. I'll go back and check that destroying a single song. That should work. I think I just need to exit and reload my Rails console. So my apologies for that, but was anyone else able to destroy like umbrella directly or anything, just using .destroy? I may have skipped a step in the heat of the moment. Which happens. Okay, cool. So what we'll do, we're almost at time. Let's do this for like 10 minutes and then we'll come back. We may not have time for a stand up, but we'll get homework and then we'll get you guys out of here. You know what, let's don't even do that. Let's just stay in the room and let's just take 5 or 6 minutes and just get through as many of these as you can. And I'm here if anyone's having any issues. So just try creating 3 new songs for an artist of your choice. Update a song's, one of the song's attributes, and then try to delete a song that you created. And then if you have time after that, you created the author model earlier, the earlier part of lab. See if you can add a book that belongs to that author. So remember that you'll need to create the book model. You'll need to add the dependent destroy. You'll need to add the has many books to the author model, that kind of thing. Well, let's just see how far you can get with that, and we'll pick it up tomorrow. So tomorrow, we got through a lot of stuff today. Tomorrow, what we'll do, now that we played around with actual active record queries, tomorrow we'll create a controller for our artists, and we'll start creating routes so that we can get JSON data in Postman. So we'll test that out. And then the second half of the day tomorrow, you guys are going to build a separate Angular application that's going to consume that data. And that's where we're going to be heading tomorrow. But by the end of the day tomorrow, you guys will have 2 separate apps that are communicating with each other. That's the idea. Alejandra, saving the day. Let's check this out. Artist.songs.first.destroy. Let's see here. So artist.first, now it pulls back Taylor Swift because I 86 Rihanna. But now if we do artist.first.songs, and you can check these one method at a time. So if I do artist.first.songs, that pulls back shake it off. And then artist.first.destroy. Yeah, so it looks like that deleted it. And then if I do artist.first.songs, I get back an empty array. So kudos, Alejandra. So Alejandra's methods there, they do work. I think I was trying to delete the variable versus the actual song object inside the array. I think that's what I did. I'll go back and play with that one.
Mark, I was playing with it. I think it should work. I think it's something with the console where it doesn't properly reload all the time.
Yeah, that
I
happens.
think so too, because this is exactly what you wrote, just without putting it in the variable or whatever.
Yeah, I probably should have exited out and like did a clean slate. Yeah, that all those queries should be fine. And sometimes that happens. Like I said, Rails, unfortunately, it isn't like Nodemon where every time you make a change, it just totally refreshes kind of underneath the hood. With Rails, we have to be a little bit more deliberate. And sometimes, the code will get caught up or it doesn't completely, clear out the cache and stuff. So maybe that's what happened there.
Yeah, a good rule of thumb for when to restart the Rails server is like anytime you're touching the model, like if you're making changes to a model or you're making changes to the database and like you ran a migration or something, I would just get in the habit of restarting the server at that point.
Yeah, when in doubt, just restart it.
Yeah. Like I think when you're touching the controller and doing stuff like that, it typically keeps track of it, but database changes, it doesn't always. And definitely the Rails console needs to be reset. The other thing that I've run into is running reload sometimes disconnects it from the Postgres database. So like and that might not actually be an IRB. I think that's in Pry. If you have Pry set up and you install Pry Rails and you run reload, it'll disconnect it from the Rails console. So you just have like a regular Pry REPL set up. So like there's just like some finicky stuff in there. So yeah, like when in doubt, just restart everything.
Cool. So let's do this, guys. It's 5:29. Take like a 10-minute break. So if you want to stretch your legs and work on, these exercises, just come back. We'll do homework and then we'll get you guys out of here. So let's do that. I also want to give you guys an exit ticket because I know we covered a lot today and we're going to cover a lot tomorrow. I just want to see how you guys are feeling about it. So let me throw an exit ticket together and I'll give you guys that when we come back at 5:40 homework and then get y'all out of here. So thanks for hanging in there and we will see y'all in 10 minutes.
Hey, Mark, I have a quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Now that I'm back from dealing with those internet issues, so I'm going back through the README and going through Slack, just making sure that I'm hitting all the steps. And I'm looking at the seeding portion of the songs, and I'm noticing that within the code in the README that we have all the songs here, but what we don't have is the array that we saw with the artists that ended with the for loop and then doing artists in the pipes and then artist.save. Do we need to do the same thing with the songs?
No, there's several different ways to do the seeds. I could have just done like artist.create 5 times. I just wanted to like write a little bit of Ruby code. So I did it that way to demonstrate .new and .save. In songs, you could do the same way. But remember that if we do a .new, we need to maybe assign it to a variable so we can call .save on it after the fact. So was just my choice. You could do it either way.
I see. So now that I see it, from what we had done earlier, we did the .new and then the .save. But here, since you did .create, it just took care of both of those.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool.
Just mixing it up, man. I wanted to write some Ruby code with the little pipes there, the little curlies and the pipes.
Yeah, very cool. At least we get to see more than one example.
Yeah, tomorrow will be fun because we'll be writing more, today we're doing more data stuff, but tomorrow we'll actually be writing more Ruby code in our Rails application with methods and classes and stuff. So tomorrow will be pretty fun and Ruby-esque. But yeah, we'll get our hands dirty tomorrow with more code directly.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you.
Sure.